And we are live, SoundMinds.
Let's go now. So it's the day of love, February 14th. They call it a Valentine's Day. So for those of you who express yourselves only on this day, congratulations. And for those who show love throughout every day, every year, this is what we're here for, man. You know what I mean? So, but nonetheless, we do definitely want y'all to show love, man, to us as best as possible. So if you're watching this now, leave your live comments, leave your questions. We got a dope guest today, man. We got a dope episode for y'all. And nonetheless, it's no different than any other. It's just we're introducing more dopeness to your earlobes, to your screens, to your eyes. So with that being said, I am your man, Lightskin, living it through every situation known in nature. Haven't done that in a while. Kind of figured we are a little bit intimate by now. We have our brother on the way. So positive energy always causes elevation. Peace to you.
Hey, today, I am King Ra Shaman, aka King Ra.
Yes,
and
sir.
Listen, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can see when we go live, so you can catch that intro when we say we are live.
Right.
So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button as you sit here and watch and share to your friends and family, man. Let's get these podcasts and these shows up. Get these numbers up with the family. Let's
go. And as we always say, do not miss these gems. This Sunday, February 14th, for Valentine's Day, we have a dope individual, man, who has a history, a tremendous resume in hip hop, especially on the underground scene, and just coming from all types of areas. So not only through New York, through DC, the family runs deep in everything that they've been doing, man. We have Joe Villa of the Amphibians. Round of applause for the brother. You know what I mean? Let's go. Yes, go. So this the Amphibian. So if you don't know the Amphibians family, I would say definitely do your research. But hip hop is what it is because of families such as the Amphibians. You know what I mean? When I remember doing the open mics and we used to rock out. So I'm gonna let my brother speak to y'all, man. Let him introduce himself, give out his resume more thoroughly, so that we can get this conversation started, man. It's gonna be a dope episode. Tell your friends to tell a friend and tell 10. We here though. Peace.
What up, everybody? My name is Joe Villa from the Amphibians, aka Joey Too Fresh. Now they call me Joey Too Fresh.
Hey,
yeah, the Amphibians. What can I say? We're a crew from DC, dope collective of MCs and beat makers, live beat makers, DJs, breakers, graffiti artists, and we've been on the scene in DC for a while, but then we took a break. After that break, we got back together, and now we're putting out albums. These volumes. Volumes 1 is called the Breathe album, which is out now on all streaming platforms, and we have a volume 2 coming out called Heavy Water, which is coming out in March. We're putting out actual old material that we've done, but I believe that it's still relevant for today.
Timeless music, huh?
Timeless stuff. So we're giving you music that we've done during that time, and also it's building up to a documentary that we're doing for DC hip hop, actually. So it's going to be interesting.
And to be clear, you are from the DC area.
Yes.
DMV area.
The DMV area, but I moved to New York, which I'm in New York right now, in Brooklyn. But yeah, so DC, like, what can I say? DC has a dope. I mean, you just got to be there. That's one of those places that you just got to be there. Like, if you're looking for hip hop, you go to U Street, right? But it's from the knowing, you know what I'm saying? So if you know about it, then you're in it. And there's a lot of talent there, a lot of talent. And I said we're part of it because we like all started from like what? Freestyle Union. Freestyle Union. Big up to Tony Blackman, who,
which is dope. Not to cut your wisdom, brother. So we were gonna have Tony on with you, right? And then it being the day, the day of love, right? Being Valentine's Day, she had other plans, but nonetheless, I'm glad that you're touching on that because I want the understanding to be fully understood when you speak about Freestyle Union, amphibians, the DC area, right? The staple that is. If you could, man, just explain kind of a little bit what the Freestyle Union is, and as well as how important it is to that whole DC metro area, how that hip hop staple and corner, how important it is to y'all.
And right quick, before you get into that answer, let's go ahead and welcome on the show, you know what I mean? Because he is taking the time out on this love day of love, as he's out with his queen on his nice trip. You know what I mean? So definitely we got rap poet in the building, Kayeem.
What up, Kai?
You see Kai is here. You want to add anything you want to add to the question, or you want him to get right into it?
I do want to say thank you for bringing up Tony. Obviously her spirit is big, so she's on the call regardless, but when we have her on the call, we're gonna give her a prerequisite to make sure she check out what you said. You know what I'm saying? And also, Joe, I have some photos. I was at the Freestyle Union 25th anniversary in DC, and everybody there was like talking about you, and so they gave me links and stuff, so I'll be passing that stuff on to you.
Word, thank you.
But man, I'm excited like everybody else. I'm just gonna mute myself and hear what you got to say about this journey, because yes, I want to know.
So Freestyle Union was a workshop built from Tony Blackman, and it was a workshop for MCs to come in a cipher and freestyle and do a lot of different topics and stuff, and just keep on point. And oh my gosh, the MCs there were nasty, dope. You had like Priest the Nomad, Kokai, Sub-Z, Black Indian. Then you had crews that came in, Hibernation, and me and my brother, and I like this. So many people that went there, so it was a community of people around the DC area to just freestyle, and that's where I learned confidence and stuff like that. It was so dope, and the MCs there, when we were all there together, it was just like love at the same time, just like freestyling, battling a little here and there, but just for fun. And I always thank her for building that community, because it was just dope for DC hip hop artists, DMV hip hop artists. You got to meet everybody, different MCs from all over with different skills, different styles, and of course the beat makers, the DJs. So it was a dope hub, yo. And that's something I hope Freestyle Union will show in the documentary form as well.
How long did Freestyle Union, how many years did it go for?
Well, for a while, but it's weird because I came in during my brother introduced me to Freestyle Union. It was small at first, and it was at different places, but then the main place we went to was Coffee House on U Street, and it was right across from Ben's Chili Bowl. So Coffee House was like a cafe sort of type area, but they had space, and we were all there freestyling and whatnot. And I would say like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, in the 90s, it was there in the 90s and somewhat like the 2000s, but I'm not too sure.
So you say it started in what, 90?
Like probably like I would probably say like 92.
92.
Yeah.
To about early 2000s, early 2000,
Right,
maybe
right.
2002, maybe 2001, 2002.
So when that was happening, like, I mean, Freestyle Union was still happening, but they were doing shows at different places. So when they stopped doing Kaffa House, it was like, Tony Blackman had different venues that they were showing. Like, she would invite a few MCs to go along with her to display what Freestyle Union was. And then the Amphibians, we formed an open mic called the Lifeline, which was in DC. We had this spot. It was cool. It was called Nyala. It's this Ethiopian restaurant, but they had an upstairs, right? And the difference between our open mic and everybody else's open mic is that we had live beats. So we had Slim Cat 78.
Okay, hold on. I was just about to ask that. So please rewind 1 second. This is crazy right now. Okay. So the cipher was incorporating just the freestyle ethic where anyone could say if they felt inspired, a spiritual inspiration, or the vent, whatever was in it. So 2 questions. One, was Amphibians kind of members where y'all met through Freestyle Union, or just you and Philly was there and then you linked up with other people? That's my first question about that.
Okay, well, the story is that all right, so most of us went to Freestyle Union, but me and my brother would have cypher sessions outside. Like, so we would go around Georgetown freestyling, and then we meet some cats that just came along. So, like, for example, we met Boogeyman Ghost, and we invited him and just like, yo, let's just freestyle or whatnot. And he just started freestyle. I was like, oh my God, this cat is nasty, And it sort of builded there, but then it sort of like, the crew that were in Freestyle Union, we would hang out. So we would hang out most of the time outside Freestyle Union. So that's how the Amphibians sort of came.
Thank you.
It actually came during like a recording session. And big up to Khalil Jamal. He's the one that actually spoke about it and been like, yo, why don't we have a crew called the Amphibians? We all looked at each other. Well, it made sense because Slim Cat was Aquaman at that time. And his space was called the Aquarium. So we would record songs at the Aquarium. And we were like, wow, all right, Amphibians. So, the people that that hung out with us the most and from the ciphers and stuff outside, we sort of got together and that's how it built.
So that brings to the second part of the question. Like, it's crazy how y'all just needed more. Like, y'all was like, yo, we can't even just do Freestyle Union once a week or once a day. We gotta live this. And I feel like Light and Rob, we've all been through that phase where it was like, that's why it's so religious. You know what I mean? When people talk about hip hop as a culture, right? It's like, oh, that was our introduction. But it's like, if you take a class in school in something and introduce you, you don't just wait for that class. You start studying and practicing like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, this is my career. So we get in like the real origin story and the initiative that from jump, you was like, okay, this is a dope nurturing space that Tony's providing. And we now know we have to continue to provide it. So then my next question, you spoke about Aquaman, you spoke about the Aquarium. What was the beats, the sonic background at Freestyle Union that Tony had? And how did you start the live beats at Lifeline? Because that's one of the greatest to this day aspects of any open mic I've been to, any cypher I've been to. That the way y'all did the live beats and had their own sound. And I know ZQ, SoundMinds ZQ will attest to this. Like that definitely, he got to participate in it as well. That evoked us as freestyle artists. When someone's doing live beats, it evokes something. How was it first at Freestyle Union? How was the beats laid there? And then how did this come about at Lifeline? Please break that down, because I don't think a lot of people
at Freestyle Union, they didn't do the live beats at Freestyle. So basically, I mean, you know, they had beats, they brought tapes and CDs and whatnot, and different people would play stuff and move on to it. But and outside of it, my brother would carry this 2-speaker and Walkman joint and play Zach beats and HL beats and every beat, like, you know, so it's just beats from them. And we would go out and start freestyling, battling people and whatnot, act a fool, you know, whatever. But the live portion, okay, so the Lifeline, it was special because our crew had people who did live beats. So they had Trevor, they had HL, they had Slim Cap, and they would just do live joints. They would bring their joints, and, like, you know, that was what's great about it. It was like, you know, it was organically done in a way, you know. What up, Zach Juan? My man Zach Juan there. Word.
CQ SoundMinds.
What up? But yo, yeah, so we decided to do that. It was something that we were like, all right, well, we'll have the live beats and a DJ, and if there was a bass player or whatever, we have them as well. But it was special because them three were there, and it was all improvised. It wasn't like, you know, they just did beats right on the spot. So at Lifeline there was just like, you know, when we did it, it was dope. So we had like a lot of different people come through. We had Saul Williams come through. Rest in peace, MF Doom. He came through. You know, so I mean, there was a lot of different cats there, man. And you know, sort of like, it sort of reminded me like of a jazz joint. You know what I'm saying? You know how jazz musicians just like start like, you know, playing, and it's all improvised. That's what we did. But instead of that, it was just like people rhyming over what we did. So yeah, it was pretty dope.
That sounds historical.
Yeah, it's dope. You know what's crazy too, man? Like, because if you think about it, right, outside of the realm of hip hop, again, not to sound like, you know what I mean, granddaddy with the cane and all that, right? But the purest of hip hop and the culture that it is, creates these type of cycles and bonds, right? And these circles rather. And I think for the most part, man, a lot of times, like, you know, I remember doing our SoundMinds shows and having amphibians come through, and we used to do the same thing. We always ended with a freestyle. You know what I'm saying? All MCs just come through, man. You sitting there, you know, you like, yo, it was light skin, manifest destiny, iller than the MC that's next to me. And it's all like, yo, we just going off the head, but it's all love. So to see a group, like a family, like the amphibians, and even SoundMinds for that matter, like it's the same kind of like the blueprint where it's like, yo, you dope. I ain't trying to take your head off. Let's either build together. And if we can't build together, I'll respect you for what you do, respect your family. And if it got to go down where we got to battle, then we'll do that. But it's more so about the unity and the unification of it all, man. And I think your story, just to kind of like give it context, the beauty of starting with something with like, you know, Freestyle Union, and then you got Lifeline, and then you got your own thing where you going on. But Amphibians is a collective of MCs and beat makers, and just as SoundMinds is, man. So I say all that to say, this is what the purest of the culture kind of in a sense spawn and give birth to. Whereas anybody else, you know, they're like, yo, hip hop is negative, but that's the rap side of it. That's the business side of it. You know what I mean?
That's the mainstream side of it.
The Lifeline came, the concept of the Lifeline came through freestyle tapes. So we used to just go to whoever's house and just record and freestyle, and you know, and we used to have like a little funny radio show called the Lifeline. And that's where we got the concept of the Lifeline to be on stage. And
Wait,
stuff.
what do you mean? That could mean so many different things. Like you pretended you was on radio.
Yeah.
You had a real airwave. Was it pirate radio? Like break that down for us.
So we would do like a freestyle tape, right? It's all freestyle and whatnot. And we would do interludes in between. So it's like a radio show called The Lifeline. But we would start freestyling off the top of the head, and the beats were just like, you know, made on spot. So
what age were you at this time? And follow up, how did you get introduced into the, you know, like embodying the culture of hip hop?
Well, I'm old. I'll say this much. Well, hip hop's been with me ever since I was like damn young. Like, you know, I love breakdancing. I love just, you know, Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash, all them cats. So with my upbringing, like that was me. And I sort of, an interesting thing, I loved hip hop before my brother loved hip hop. So I was the one just like, you know, listening to tapes and buying records and stuff like that and trying to break dance and whatnot. Try to battle people, carrying around my little cardboard box so I could break dance on it. Stupid stuff like that. But it was
so Philly walking around with the speakers was like easy after you saw Big Bro walking around with cardboard boxes. Now it makes sense. He was like, oh, I could carry around a speaker. He carrying around boxes.
But hold on, we gotta give context, man.
Yeah.
Kids of today don't understand that. Like
that's exactly why I was trying to ask that question, is because right when we speak to kids of today, especially me and Kyle, we be in the classroom and we tell them, you know, the essence of hip hop. We tell them the principles of hip hop, you know, and then, you know, I look at your material, I look at, you know, what, you know, your history, and it's like, yo, y'all hold on, just exactly what, you know, Lightskin was just saying, y'all hold on to the true essence of hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's like, how did you get embodied in it? And it's like, we're seeing that you were introduced to hip hop, like being a fan of all of the different principles of the hip hop, all of the different essence of hip hop, DJing, MCing, graffiti, you know, all the producing, beat making, you know, all of that was, you were a fan of that and embody that itself. Where today, you know, I heard the song on the radio and I want to sound like that, in a sense, you know what I mean? And they don't go any further. So like, that's why I asked that, you know, question. I'm glad Lightskin was already on it. Like,
yeah, of course, let's talk. It was a different time. It inspired me. Like, you know, all the stuff that we consider old school now inspired me to be in this culture, to be involved with this culture.
And this culture embraced you.
Yeah, and the culture embraced me. And it's just like, you know, meeting my fellow amphibians and Freestyle Union and all these MCs, it's just like, you know, we just got together and showed, like, you know, we got love for this. In the early stage, like I was talking to Lightskin before, in the all early stages, it was all just about recording and creating. We weren't really into the business side of stuff until now, right? Now we are. But you know, and it just shows.
We're gonna talk about that later too. Congratulations on the new releases you have. Like we got back to just doing SoundMinds since then too. You know what I mean? So we seeing you do your thing. We seeing EOW doing this thing. It's like it's like Voltron, the energy of us all like, nah, it's coming back. We still here, y'all. We just let y'all do your own thing. And now we
you gotta preserve the history, yo. You gotta show it. It was about our time to just show it because, you know, you had cats like Odyssey, Kev Brown. They would talk about the amphibians. And it'd be like, okay, so who are the amphibians? And I was like to myself, I'm like, yo, we gotta show and prove. Like, you know what I'm saying? We already, like, you know, we've done it, but we have so much stuff to release and to show people that from that time and that era, that why these people are talking about us.
It's funny too, because nowadays I think a lot of people, like, you know, Rock can attest to this. We go in schools and people will say, like, first it was, where's your YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't have any videos on YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm known for mad ciphers, mad recordings, collaborations. Right. I didn't realize, like, because I came up listening to cassette tapes with a pencil and a scotch tape. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't realize, like, so it's like, where's your YouTube? And then now it's what car are you driving? So it's completely a different concept from what we think of as a rapper.
Yeah.
It's like, where's your Ferrari? You're a rapper, right? Where's your Lamborghini? So
where's your drip? Where's your drip?
Where's your drip?
It wasn't so much.
What happened to where's your skills? How about that?
That's what I was about to say. So the crazy thing about it is what Kai's talking about, right? And what Ryan and we kind of talking about. So you talking about, you kids talking about, yo, where that Lambo at, right? But this is why I was asking that question in regards to people, the youth don't fully, or even 24, 25, 30, some 27-year-olds don't understand what it meant when a party could go down in any spot. Like, it's like, yo, who's your best break dancer? You pull out a cardboard out your pocket. Like, you literally have it with you, pull it out, do the windmills, do the head spins, do the, you know what I mean? The all that. And it's just kind of like, yo, this is a battle. Whereas now these kids are like, yo, what's your Lambo like? Yo, where's your SoundCloud? What's that looking like? But it's not about skill.
It's a different light. Yeah, it's a different light.
It's not about, you know what? And not out of context, but in context at the same time. I just seen a video of two well-known rappers, not MCs, two well-known rappers who've seen each other, and it was a whole bunch of like recording, like, yo, what up, son? What up? And I'm like, yo, never in a lifetime, you know what I mean? Never in a lifetime would you clown yourself to sit there and about the bro with a phone in your hand talk about, yo, word the mother B, I'm gonna get you. Your hands always need to be free, because you know, like, at any given time, that left or right hook come through, you uppercutting or you doing something else. But nowadays, the fight is now on social media. So now it's like, let me record you while I act tough. You know what I mean? So speak on that, man. Speak on the talent loss. You know what I mean? The lack of it.
I don't want to speak on my frustrations.
No. I'm gonna put it in a positive way.
Okay, here's another way.
You carry cardboard. Philly carried speakers,
right?
And y'all was known to carry big sticks, staffs. Like, y'all just had things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? DJs like Kool Herc used to carry. So let's talk about the aspect. You had to carry things around to prepare, not just let me get to the stage, let me get to the Lambo, let me get to this thing. Talk about that part. Did you carry things? What was the purpose of carrying things around versus getting to that place? Talk about that. Why did you carry things around?
Okay, let's backtrack a little. So Lifeline went to New York. My brother moved to New York. And then we moved to New York, me and Trevor, and then we met down.
But no, how long was Lifeline in DC before you went to New York?
Lifeline in DC was just like around like 2 years, 2.5 years. Okay. So then when we moved to New York, that's when we went to Benny Cafe. You remember Benny Cafe? Big up to Booze with Benny back, who gave us Benny Cafe, which was on what, West 25th Street? Yeah. So on West 25th Street, it was the same hotel. What was it? Like same hotel Miles Davis was staying in at one point. regardless of that, so we did the Lifeline there. The thing that was different, Trevor was doing the beats. We had a DJ. We had we had Zaquan and Leon. Zaquan introduced us to Leon. Big up to Zaquan once again. And it was dope. Let me tell you how dope it was, because it was the same format. It was like, you know, they improvised there. So me and my brother and Don would host, get some people, get everybody to ROM and whatnot. And we got to meet the New York underground scene there, from SoundMinds to Stronghold to all these crews. It was crazy. So they knew where to go, you know, on a Thursday night.
So I feel like the first time I saw y'all was like down on like Delancey, like around Baby Jupiter, which funny, we just had Prolific from EO Dub and he was talking about Origins. Do you remember, like, I'm trying to remember, how did I get up to the Benny Cafe? Because I knew that neighborhood, but I wasn't going to open mics in that neighborhood until y'all. So did y'all recruit us from like Baby Jupiter or Pyramid, like that? And y'all was like, come up to 25th Street.
Yeah. So when Booze gave my brother the joint, it was weird because, you know, Booze wasn't in the same mind state as we were, but he didn't care. He was just like, all right, they bring people, they buy drinks or whatnot, but we brought flavor there, right? So it's just like, all right.
That was the spirit of Miles leading him in
open
there.
mics from Baby Jupiter and stuff like that. I think we told y'all to come to West 25th, so that's probably what happened. But yeah, like, oh my gosh, there was so much going on. Like, you know, during those times when we were the Butterfly Dragons. Yeah, my brother was not playing. He was just like, "Yo, we're gonna perform everywhere." I'm like, "What?" It's like, okay, we're gonna perform at Starbucks. We're gonna perform here, there, everywhere. So, and you know, my brother was just on his own thing, and then he would just say like, "Yo, let's create every day." So, sort of our house was sort of like, you know, it was a studio at
the lily pad.
Yes. So we would record. And you remember you were there.
Yeah.
Deep was there, you know what I'm saying? Ace Lover, you know.
All
these cats, you know. But yeah, so like I said, the Lifeline in New York was happening for a while until, you know, we had some beef with Booze or whatnot. And then
how did I guess that was inevitable? How did we had a similar guy, I won't bring his name, but we had a similar guy at one of our joints, like no one talk about. How did Poison Pen get up there? Because Pen was there, like I feel like every time I was there, Pen was definitely there. So he was not regular. How did he get up there?
I think it was because of Breeze Everflowing.
Shout out Breeze, another SoundMinds podcast.
You know,
killed
the Breeze Everflowing
alumni
and killed it.
Alumni.
And I was just like, we were just like, wow, like, yo, what's up? He says, yo, we got a crew called Stronghold. I'm like, word? So he brought like C-Rays, Life, and Pen. So that's where we all met, and it was love ever since, man. Just these cats. Black Panther too, recipes Black Panther. He was like, I got a story about him actually. He brought everyone in Brooklyn together. I think you were there for one of his mixtapes where everyone freestyled.
Mm-hmm.
So he was that was like memorable. But yeah, like going back, like meeting Stronghold and them cats, they brought other MCs as well. So it was crazy. And then when we lived in Clinton Hills, me and my brother, we got to meet Skinhead. We met Most Dev's brother.
Peace, PH.
Yeah, rest in peace, BH. We met Jean Grey. You know what I'm saying? So everyone was in the neighborhood. They knew my brother because he would just rhyme everywhere, and they would just look at him like, "Wow, this dude got mad energy." You know, they felt it. So, you know, it was great. Even Quali and Mos Def, you know, when they were at Inkaru Books, they would invite us down and like, you know, just like, yo, we're gonna rhyme here, and you know,
Foundation
a lot of
series, right?
So I mean, there was hip hop was all around us, basically, and of course, my brother Yazid, big up Yazid,
Yazzie. Yes,
Rom
sir.
Rom nonstop in front of every DJ. They would just nonstop rhyming, you know.
Oh, and shout out Writers Guild. Low and
Word.
Life got new
Life
joints.
Liquid.
Yazzie got new joints. Like everybody active right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. But I like to mention those cats because, like, you know, they were all around. They inspired us. We did songs together. You know what I'm saying? And that during that time, New York was unified, sort of, because everyone was supporting. That's what it lacks now, the support. Because people used to go to everyone's shows, everyone's open mics, everyone's this, because they loved it. You know
Well, so let me ask you about that then. Do the shout out to Best. I mean, there's so many, like you said, so many numerous cats. Some of the best moments on my freestyle hip hop education. I don't know, like what we call it, like our master's degree. You know, Ra is now like a professional teacher in the school districts. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like these were our dissertations. So some of my best classes were there. What did you do out of that? You get what I'm saying? Because we're talking about unity and how people just go to a show or know someone raps but not have that. Like, what formed with you and Stronghold and Penn and me? We know I ended up on compilations with y'all or did tracks or you know turned into other open mics and things.
That's what I'm saying. We hung out together. We would always be at the same spot at the same time. So we built from there. You know what I'm saying? So we would go to South Paul. You know what I'm saying? We would go to a lot of different places in LES and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And we would see the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it built. And then, you know, we keep in touch. That's it. That's pretty much it. We developed relationships, and then, like, you know, when we see each other at different shows, it was all love. You know, oh, you got something going on? All right, I'll go check it out. You know
Yeah. That's you know, it's funny that you say that, man. I think at that time too, hip hop was such a universal language, right? And I remember one time, shout out to my brother Academics at all times, man, the other half of the acolytes. You know what I'm saying? Me and my brother, we talking about working on some things and putting them out. But I remember these dudes, man, they came to the SoundMinds shows, right? Remember the producer's name was Piranha. It was Piranha, and I forgot the other dude's name, man, and forgive me. But, you know, they from Philly. And it's funny that you say that because that's the kind of energy that was kind of built. Like, these dudes came down to see us. They were like, yo, we want to work with you. We got this thing going on in Temple. Come through. You could perform. So me and Dre, me and Academics, we go out to Philly. Now, picture this. We the only New York dudes there, right? Back then, everybody had the Iverson jerseys, the cornrows, the hat. You know what I'm saying? So here it is.
Not knowing Iverson was from Hartford, bro. Not knowing. Footnote, full circle.
Hey, he like my long lost cousin.
Oh, that's crazy. Hey, yeah. So, you know, we out there and everybody. So at first, they were like, yo, shut up, you know, bring it to the stage next. We got these SoundMinds members, man, acolytes from New York City. So automatically, yo, chill, bro. Yo, they ain't from out here. Rocked out. They loved us. They were like, oh, yo, they fire. So we just met these dudes, right? So we go back. They were like, yo, let's go back, man. This is a story that we got to tell. They were like, yo, come to the studio, rock out. So whatever have you, whoever was living with them, something had happened. Somebody broke into their studio. Their studio was like in a low basement. It was like an apartment, a low basement joint. And here it is, me and Dre, and we only had like, I think another 2 dudes with us. We were out there on some real, like, yo, who broke into your joint? Yo, let's go find them. This is the crazy thing, right?
No, I'm glad you're saying that because that's how things would happen. Like a lot of these memories of beefs and things that happen, it was like you just happened to be there because the energy, like Joe talking about, the energy was like family. It was like whatever y'all going through, we here for that.
We here, yeah. So this is the funniness, and this is not to in any way offend nobody, right? So we out there now. I'm looking around. It's in an alley. They live in a basement, broken into. It's in the alley. I'm like, yo, who you got beef with? I don't even know these dudes. I'm like, yo. So we run up, and then I walk up a little block ahead, and I see like 5 dudes over there. So I'm like, yo, you know them over there? They were like, yo, Light, chill. I said, nah, what you mean chill, man? You know them? Do they look a little suspicious? No offense to anybody. This is when I first got introduced to the idea of there being male prostitutes. And here it is. I'm out there ready to fight. I'm like, yo, who are these dudes out there? What? And he's like, yo, chill. They working out there. I said, what you mean they working, man? I don't care if they got work on them. He's like, no. They're working. They're prostitutes. I said, all right, man. Yo, it's time to get back to New York, man. So
I'm sorry for laughing, yo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know, and I say that to say,
they got work on them. He said, no, they are the work.
Well, yeah. So I say that to say, man, that type of cultural bonding, and you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we just met them from the shows that they came out. Honestly, they could have, you know, and not that they were, but they could have been setting us up back then. Like, but it was all love, and it was like after that, went back to their crib. We was like, yo, let's hear some beats and let's just rock out to what you got. Right. But that type of energy, like you said, man, Stronghold, Writers Guild, come on, man, the Plague, you know what I'm saying? Amphibians, EO Dubs, SoundMinds, everybody was like, yo, we all do this. We all respect each and every one of us who do it. Exactly. It's all love. Exactly. You know what I mean? We need that. We do need that back.
But going back to your question, I mean, Kaim, about the staff, my brother, that's all my brother. That's all Philly. He found that staff in well, we were in a crazy situation, but he found that in Prospect Park, and he kind of carved everything on that staff, the artwork on that staff. And then he made it to his walking stick. So that's him. I can't explain his actions, but like, you know what I'm saying? It was okay, so the like DC Philly was different, way different than the New York Philly. All the amphibians can attest to that because he started dressing different. You saw this, pigtails, staff, whatever, a rice hat sometimes, you know. So walking around, you know.
I'm glad you're saying this because that was the Philly I knew.
Right.
You got to realize I met him on this side.
I mean, that's his spiritual self put in a way. Like, you know, that's what New York has built for him during that time. So it wasn't planned out that way. It was just like, you notice how the difference between how I dressed and how he dressed, you know, in the group, or how Trevor dressed, Leon, Zaquan, Don. Don's the closest to dressing up like Philly. You know what I'm saying? Than to dress almost alike.
I feel like he also used to carry something like either like a stick with a bag on it. Like, am I imagining this?
No, he used to carry around a drum. He used to carry around his drum a lot. So that was Don. Big up to Don, wherever you are. Peace. Yeah, man. So them two would just like, you know, I mean, just go off each other's energy. And of course they're like, you know, painters and stuff like that. Poet, like they would write. Like, you know how Don used to rhyme and stuff like that. Crazy.
By
dude.
the way, you just said something about Don, Zaquan. Like, You spitting bars right here. I feel like this turned into a verse. I wanna talk about Philly in a minute. I wanna talk about something else first and then come out, because you're giving us this journey. You went from DC, New York downtown, then you brought to New York Midtown, and from your journey, we all embraced you. You know what I mean? And we was like, let's go up to Midtown. Didn't you end up in the Philippines for a while? You started a blog, you started a DJ gig, some of these other things.
So,
I feel like these are all extensions of that continuing journey. So and we'll come back to New York and how Lifeline transitioned out, but go into the Philippines and that, and then we'll come back.
Okay, so this is after Philly. Philly passed away, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say that, man. Before we go into that, man, please let's talk about your brother, man.
I didn't know that.
And respect of him.
Right. So he passed away.
I didn't know that, man. Respect.
Oh, no problem, man.
And we're gonna thoroughly talk about him at the end too.
Right. So let's talk about Philly first before we get to the Philippines. Philly was sick. He had asthma, bad asthma, and that's what kind of took him out. They gave him this machine that he could breathe into, but it didn't work. And what happened was that he took too much. And what happens when you take too much, it sort of speeds up your heart rate. Mm-hmm. With that said, he passed away. So during when he passed away, so it took some time. It took time to me to get back into my feed. Me and Trevor was living next door. Trevor and Aaron Henry was living next door. We were in Flatbush at the time, and we continued doing music. We continued doing music, like he did. Like Trevor did songs with Philly on it, just to finish off, and that's where "Breathe" comes in. He did that to, immortalize Philly and Naima. Rest in peace, Naima. So, I mean, after that, it's sort of like, it took us time to build. We did the Philly Foundation. That's when we brought all the people from Amsterdam in one house, my house, and we did that big show in Prospect Park. I remember that, and
it was like a going away ceremony,
right? And we did one in DC at 2K9, where we had all the DC artists come and perform, which was a classic performance.
I guess I'll say this now. One of my biggest lessons in life was at the Prospect Park ceremony. A lot of shout out to Rise and Shine. A lot of real dope, respected MCs was there, and like people wasn't really rapping. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, if Philly was here, he'd be rapping. And I was like, I'ma just go with the flow and rap. And I kid you not, it was the worst bars I have ever spit in my life. And that's when I realized, like, when you freestyle, it could go really well or it could go really not well.
Right.
And it was so embarrassing that it changed my whole perspective, because I was realizing like Philly was lit in that tune. You know what I mean? And I didn't do the necessary like tapping into Philly's essence and checking the temperature in the room. I was just trying to say words, but I was grieving at the same time, and it was just horrible. You know what I mean? So to this day, I still probably need to talk to you and other people who do what we do and process it, because it was like the weirdest thing in my mind. But the first thing I wanted to say after that was like I said, Philly, I'm sorry. Like I wanted to do like the freestyle of all freestyles to make Philly like proud, and I was like, I didn't have that. We not have that. Like sometimes you
hard,
don't.
Man, it was a hard situation. I mean, you can't blame yourself for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, there was so much emotion during that that time, that energy was, to me, was weird in a way, because I didn't want to be sad, but at the same time I couldn't help but be sad that he's not there. You know what I'm saying? And the same goes for everybody. They didn't really like, we could have, we sort of did after, but it was just like, people were just in different moods. And
he was the life of the party. Like, when you
right.
talk about Lifeline, like, for people who never met to Philly, like, he's one of those people who you missed out on it. Like, he was a different person. If he walked in a room, the temperature changed. His smile, his flow, like, everybody would just want to rap better, and everybody would just feel good, like,
His
regardless
energy,
of.
man. His energy was always like, you know what I mean? Like, and even it doesn't matter that something may have been happening, right? Let's just say we don't know, you know what I mean? But Philly on stage, or even Philly not on stage, he was so attentive to what was going on, you know what I mean? And then afterwards, like, yo, let's go, let's flow. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta love that, because that energy was always consistent. It never really faltered.
Yeah, he's a ball full of energy. That's all I can say. And he loved it, every minute of it. Like, if hip hop was hip hop was his thing. So
I would say, with that being said, let's share the screen and pull up this Breathe track by Amphibians featuring Philly.
Word. It's on the Amphibians Volume 1, the Breathe album.
Check it out. Y'all see it right here. Make sure y'all can type this in your search bar and go ahead and search up this song right here. But get a check right here on SoundMinds.
I'm not hearing sound.
Living. My spirit in this 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 practicing this addiction by living, working, regurgitating time spent on rent, ventilation. Other than what my spirit represent, I'm practically adjusted to believing that this bubble, troubled by society that's built hideously, maneuvering through this monopoly. Ask whatever happened to living, working, ventilation. Brothers mutter pigeons and scrubs in this new world pop dynasty. Honestly, others that continue to clutter the music that we create. They ask us of other things, which to me is procrastinating. I'm waiting for the day it would all come around, being at peace in the presentations of our sounds. Song, miracle, song, melody. I have been a miracle. I have been all I want to do is breathe, struggling to fit in this world that limits me, conditioned to the ways I cannot relate. Trying to be receptive to this world before we get erased. All I want to do is breathe, struggling to fit in this world that limits me, conditioned to the ways I cannot relate. Trying to be receptive to this world before we get erased. All I want to do is breathe. My spirit in this living. 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 My spirit in this.
That was dope, man. Rest in peace to both of them. It was dope to get that homage. You know what I mean? That feeling of a old. You know what I'm saying? I gotta ask you, Joe, if you don't mind me, please pardon me if this is too deep or too personal. But that track, was that about his battle for the most part? Do you feel like that was about what was going on?
What was funny is it came from a song that we did, and it was a more happier version. But Trevor took his verse and did that. So if you hear the album, the Breathe album, like the very last song is the happier version, the original version of that. It was with Trevor, me, and my brother. All I want to do is breathe. Like, he was saying some stuff, and it was a different feel from when Trevor made that. Trevor made that after Philly passed, right after Philly passed. He made that joint, and it was just like listening to that version makes you feel a certain way. Listening to the other version makes you feel like, all right, this is what's up. This is it was meant to, like Butterfly Dragons, we did songs about struggle, but it was happy songs. So you know,
and that's another thing that I feel is really like culture shifting and lacking. It shows the power of music, because a lot of people now, you got a lot of our young brothers and sisters who are they experience some hardship or things don't go exactly how they want, and they take it very sadly because of their expectations. Meanwhile, you have this process that they just haven't been exposed to on a regular, which is this process from people like you who teach. We have dealt with some like actual crazy hardship and trauma, and we transmute that energy into art and music and happiness to try to say, okay, let's help other people, let's not spread this more because we don't like it. We know it's not the place to be. So let's change the temperature a little, even if it's a degree. You know what I mean? And it's just a different way of dealing with it. But there's so many people who, if they just saw that way more, they would at least know, oh, there's another way to deal with it. It's not like cool or real to just be sad or depressed, right? It's okay to be sad or depressed, but it's not like the only legitimate way to deal with grief or stress. And I'll tell a funny thing about that. Like, a lot of times I'll notice that now there's a lot of woke white folks in the space of anti-racism and talking about it, and they'll be checking other white people on like the right things to do and the wrong things to do, and like be more sensitive to Black Lives Matter. But then a lot of times it'll be us. It'll be some people of color in the room, and we'll be laughing at something, right? And we'll get that glare from them, like, why are you laughing? Like, this isn't funny. Not realizing we deal with this dysfunction and white supremacy all the time. And laughing is one of the ways we deal with it. Like, just because y'all started taking it seriously and trying to break it down now.
That's the beauty of hip hop. We get to express what we feel. It may be like sad, but we want to feel good at the same time. But this is our way of expressing ourselves, the way we release. You know, like, you can be angry and release an angry track, and people will feel your anger. That's whatever you put in. But if you like, all right, we're struggling, but we don't have to struggle. We can just like create something about our struggles and make it beautiful. So that was part of what the Butterfly Dragons was making a bad situation, or whatever situation, beautiful into art. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's dope about hip hop. Hip hop, you can express that. And I wish,
SoundMinds.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, people. I mean, okay, I get people are mentally disturbed and they go to doctors or psychiatrists and stuff. But if you have that pen and you write, and of course you make beautiful beats, you can put a song together. That's your release there, and it's beautiful because you have a lot of people who can relate to what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of what we were, like what we were like. You know what I'm saying? As
you just made me realize that's how I found out that Poison Pen had asthma as well. I think it was going through this with Philly that he revealed I have asthma, and then shortly after I found out that Pharoah Monch. All of these amazing MCs, and I almost wondered, now the way you're putting it together, I almost wonder now if there's a connection between people who value their breath so much, saying, emceeing in art and breathing in words is like a gift, whereas maybe a lot of us take it for granted. You know what I mean? And those who don't really push their pen and push their flow.
I'm saying if you let fear, my brother would always say, if you let fear take over, then it's going to be impossible. But if you don't get fear in the way, you know what I'm saying, you do it, you actually do it. So, it depends on what your mind state and what your thoughts and whatever. If you want to express this, you should. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the, not to cut you off too. That's the funny thing, man. First of all, shout out to Coach Narte, who was also on here. Shout out to Dad Is Not a Noun. Dope podcast that they got and dope things that they doing. Shout out to everybody watching. They definitely love the visuals, love you know what I mean? They love the track. That's the dope thing about hip hop, man. And other genres of music kind of do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you hear an old song and you just like, oh man, the spirit and the timelessness of that. But like Rap Poet is just saying right now, for Penn to have said, yo, I deal with asthma. You know what I'm saying? And through different things like that, like honestly speaking, hip hop, the culture, and the putting out of music. Now, the four elements that we do know the culture to be, but the lyricism behind the pain of which all of us kind of find similar, but sometimes we don't know that people around us are going through the same struggles. You know what I'm saying? So to get that, you know what I'm saying, and to be able, that's why and that's why SoundMinds and Amphibians, and that's why Light Skin is so adamant that every time my pen moves, my pen needs to be connected to the veins of at least 90% of the people, one way or the other. Whether it be one track, whether it be one bar, whether it be a whole verse, it's just kind of like, oh, word, you wasn't feeling that verse? Well, here's this one. And yeah, of course, hip hop is a competitive sport. So yeah, we want to hear the, I'm iller than Joe Villa, the Thriller. We want to hear that. But at the same time, the culture, we do this because we know that there's others who feel like, damn, I'm in this battle by myself. Wow. Oh, snap. No, I'm not. Joe Villa's going through this. Light Skin is going through this. Rap Poet, Self-Suffice, you know what I mean? King Rod's going through this. And they just opened up a door for me to understand I'm not alone in this. You know what I mean? And that's important, man.
Definitely. I mean, the unification's there. So, I mean, going back to the Amphibians, right? We're different individuals, but at the same time, we love what we all relate to, which is hip hop at the end of the day. And I could speak for all of them. They so dope for right now. We've learned so much skills than before. So before it was just writing, producing, recording, making demo tapes, what have you, right? Now it's deeper. It's like, we're doing our own videos. We're doing our own, podcasts, radio shows, or whatnot. Stuff that we didn't think of before. And it's just like, all right, we could do this. Yo, like I said, like if we had the internet back then, oh my gosh. Okay, if we had the internet back then, I'm just saying, we would be like Hyro. You know what I'm saying? We would be like Hyro. Big up to hieroglyphics and what they've done throughout the years. Like,
A plus SoundMinds alumni. Catch his podcast.
Inspired us to like do what we do now. You know what I'm saying? And dope MCs as well. So, I mean, if you love what you do, you just keep doing it. You just can't stop. And I think, the pandemic is a curse, and it's love it it has its good and bad. The good is that we got to take a break from our regular life to go into what we need to focus on as in music, right? So that's how we all got together. It's like, okay, we have time. We have nothing but time. So let's get all these songs together. Let's do this. Let's, get the crew back together. You know what I'm saying? And it's been on ever since.
Now, before we talk about that, because I want to bring that back into what's happening now. Tell us what happened in between. As the Lifeline dispersed, how did you get to the Philippines? How did you start doing the DJ gig?
Okay,
the 4080 blog.
Right.
These are three things that I know, like, really you did majorly, because like I was reaching out to you just as like a brother.
Right,
and other people were like, oh, he's the blog dude, or he's the photographer dude. So like, what happened after Lifeline?
Okay, so let's start with Rule 4080. Rule 4080 was in New York. It was consist of me, Seed, and C Popular, and Chop and Shoot Langston, right? He does all the Griselda videos. He's done stuff with what's his name? Well, with Griselda. So he's been doing videos for that. But we formed we created Rule 4080 because we started going to industry parties, right? And I would have the camera, and we would just like go network and stuff like that. And I would just take pictures. I started taking pictures. What was great is that big up to my wife, Yvette, she put the camera in my hand, right? One day, because she was DJing at this clothing shop with Brina. And so this clothing shop, so I just took pictures, random pictures and whatnot. And they were looking at the pictures. They were like, oh my gosh, this is great. So after that, my wife bought me a camera and I started going out. Just like, all right, I'm going to take pictures all over, whatever. And it wasn't even an SLR, yo. It was this little Sony joint that I could do like a lot of, I knew all of its functions and stuff. So I got even into big places, which was like, you know what I'm saying? We got into big places and everyone would have these fancy cameras, not this little Sony joint, and I just use it. And I did not care. I was just like, yo, let me do my thing. And you do yours. The pictures came out and they were like, oh, this is dope. So we kept on getting invited to a lot of events, fashion events. It was like hip hop events. I was almost like one time I was almost photographer for Boot Camp Clip because I was always there. It was just so funny. It's just like, so Buckshot, big up to Smith and Wesson and all them cats. It was fun. It was great doing pictures for them. And then we would just go to like Toka Tuesdays, for example, go to Sutra. So they would like, I would like take pictures at Sutra. And then we would like get invited to like events that are like, Adidas. So Adidas would probably have different MCs there, for example, The Roots, Mary J. Blige, everybody, Bobby Brown, Isley Brothers. It was just crazy. So we did that for a while.
What was that like as a MC? Because it's almost like an Aloe Black thing. We know Aloe Black is like this LMC, and then he blows up as an R&B singer. There's all these people that know who he is, but they don't know him as Aloe Black, the MC, at all, even though they know him. We just had Mez. We know Mez is like crazy LMC, Mic Destroyer, and all these people know him as J. Cole's engineer. Like, what was that like for you being around all these dope artists?
Like me and C, no one knew of our MC past. No one knew, which is crazy. So they knew me as a photographer. They knew Seed as the networker, and
so did that become like a joke for y'all? Did it become something that you spoke about? Did you tell people, "Hey, I rap"? Like, how did you deal with that? It seems so crazy to me.
We never spoke about it. We never
really.
It's just like, we kept on focus of what we're doing now.
Okay.
So even at the hip hop shows, we're never like, "Nah, we're MCs, we're from the Amphibians." No, we never did that. So people are surprised now that when we put out an album and we reveal like C got a video called My Theme Music, and they did a video on LES. And that joint is new. But it's funny. It's an old song, but it's new. The video is new. The same with New York City Minute with Khalil. He did that in the Bronx.
Shout out to Seed.
Words. They got to Seed. My brother Seed in the place. Words.
He in the chat.
Yeah, he in the chat too.
And his merch.
Hey, look at that.
Hey, you got the merch on.
Joe, quick question, man. So we're gonna wrap up in a little bit, man, just to kind of, what I mean? It's Love Day and everybody go be with their wives and all that, man. I got one question, right? And then I gotta ask you. So while I ask you this question, I'm gonna ask you to prep yourself, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you the second portion first. So all MCs that we have come on, we have them spit their favorite 16s. Their best six or their favorite 16. Doesn't have to be their best 16. It's just the 16 that you remember, a 16 that, where you got off and you like, yo, that's the one. Again, it doesn't have to be deep or the best one, but just your favorite 16. So while you're thinking about that, I don't want to put you on the spot.
That's nice.
Oh my God.
Nice.
That's why I'm gonna hit you with this question first. So while you're thinking about that one, I gotta know, brother, why the I think C good looking, C. Why the lack of vowels in the name Amphibians? If you could give the history of that.
Okay, so we were originally the Amphibians the normal way, but a lot of bands took that name. So we broke it down. We broke it down to, AMPHBNS. Still the Amphibians, but since 2,000 people have that name, we found out, you know what I'm saying? Tried to get it copyrighted, but did not work out. So many bands, you look up Amphibians on YouTube, first you see frogs, or if you look on Bandcamp, there's a lot of bands called Amphibians. So we changed it to that.
So similar struggle that, because SoundMinds, we've been rocking since 96, 5-ish probably. When you look on SoundMinds, and I remember, because me and Kyle really we the ones that kind of brought it, and then shout out to Academics and ZQ and everybody, but, we was talking, man, and Rob, he is SoundMinds to the death now, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of like the struggle of knowing, we put in so much work. And you got people with the name SoundMinds, and it's like, yo, what are y'all doing with that name? Nah, we got to take that back. You know what I mean? So I understand the struggle, brother. We understand.
Nah, that's a dope name, yo.
And it's to the point we actually have it without the vowels too. Like sometimes you'll see short links. We have that domain, sndmnds.com. We own that.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we broke it down like that.
That makes sense. And I figured
it's taken, and don't forget we've been on a hiatus for like 10 years.
Oh yeah, and we do need
10
to
years.
briefly touch on the Philippines part. We want to get your 16 too, but we definitely want to know because that's you went where no underground MC has gone before. So we need to know stuff about that.
I mean, it was basically growth, man. I was okay. So I moved to the Philippines, and I was there for like I was originally supposed to stay for 3 years. I was there for like 5 years. Anyway, so to make a long story short, I did my photography thing there, and I went to this one place called M Cafe. They didn't know, I had to introduce myself and like, what's up? I just came off the boat from New York. What's going on? And they had something dope going on, so I was taking pictures. They saw my pictures, and then they looked back from all the Rule 4080 pictures, and they gave me a job.
It was like you ain't leaving. You ain't leaving, son.
A lot of jobs came through, so I took pictures for them. I took pictures for Adidas, Nike, and Red Bull Philippines. So that was dope. I took pictures for the Manila Music Festival. They had Ali Shaheed and Africa Bambaataa come through, so I got to show them around. Pick them up from the airport and show them around the Philippines. Took Ali Shaheed to meet my mom, which was so funny. But yeah, so that was dope. And I knew Ali from New York and Africa Bambaataa, so they knew who I was. So it was all cool. And then of course DJ Spinner and a whole lot of other cats came through the Philippines. But yeah, so got a lot of things for my DJ and for my photography gig. Then I wanted to DJ. I was just like, all right, well, I want to bring a vibe over and just like, spin like old school breaks or whatnot, because that's me. That's what I love. So started doing that, and that became big, and just like, got to DJ at all these places and stuff. So it was cool, like DJ and photographer. So I had a logo, Joey Too Fresh. This dude that made it, he passed away unfortunately, but he made a logo with a 45 that was like a little camera, like a little, like whatchamacallit, I forgot, but it's like the O was just like a record and a camera at the same time, the camera lens. So you can imagine it was pretty dope. As far as the scene in the Philippines is dope. I mean, if you ever get to go back and when COVID's over and they start up again, I mean, you should go. Definitely.
They say that is a place for growth.
Yeah. What?
Spiritual growth. They say that's a place of spiritual growth.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, hip hop is so dope there. I met so many cats there that does beats, that rhyme in Tagalog. Like, I can't believe it. I'm just like, hey, how do you do this? Like,
we know Filipino presence in hip hop on this side has always been strong, but we always wondered, what's it like in the Philippines? Was that like simultaneous, or did that ever come back? And by the way, shout out to DJ Boo. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to so many dope Filipino brothers and sisters over here.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, like, it's dope because they have DJs, they have breakers, they have graffiti artists, so it's all the same there. The love for it. I mean, of course you have your your whack joints, and of course you have to get the balance of whackness and good stuff.
Shout out to Apple the app too. Let me say that.
Word.
He's Filipino too, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, if you go there, the culture is there. You'll see like graffiti. You'll see people rhyming and stuff, but in a different language. The DJs are impeccable. Dope DJs. And that was my experience there. After that, I moved to China and Shenzhen for a bit. And I got to DJ at the only record store they had there. So that was dope. And so I did a whole New York theme, old school New York hip hop and breaks and stuff like that.
But then you got the bars like told you got to switch the bars. The bars started calling, and that's how you ended up back in New York. I'm guessing you was like, okay, I got the photography, I did the DJing thing. The bars is calling. Is that what happened? And you said I gotta go back to New York because the bars is calling. Like, is that what happened?
Nah. Just New York happened because well, I'll build on it with you guys some other time. But I mean, I'm happy to be back in New York. I was in Abu Dhabi for like a year, and they had a dope scene as well before pre-COVID. So I got to DJ on a boat, on a freaking boat, son. So like, you know, people were dancing and whatnot, and that felt good. And then COVID happened, so my DJ career went whoop. So when I focused on the amphibian thing, it was dope because putting back, I mean, you know, my music together, and yeah, I'm gonna get back into it. I'm working on beats by SB Methods, Zaquan, YU. You know what I'm saying? So
are you more of a freestyler or a writer?
I'm more of a freestyler.
So
you know that guy.
So freestyling off the top of the dome, we got Joe Villa.
Why y'all gonna put me on the spot like this?
In the spotlight on the SoundMinds.
In the spotlight on the
joint. I'm gonna
but so don't take it personal because we definitely have.
He was just about to go.
Yeah, you know what's crazy though, Joe? I'll be real with you. We have had others where we just like, yo, everybody spit a 16. Go ahead, spit your flyers joint. And so with you fair. So we gave you the alley, you know what I mean? 15 minutes before. So your favorite 16 or off the head, whatever whatever you're most comfortable with, brother.
We got 10 minutes to think about this. They gave him a layup.
I do
just
have
remember ZQ is listening to this. ZQ is playing a beat in Sweden right now, and he's hoping that you are rapping because he's like, this, Joe, you better rap. I'm playing this beat for you right now, son.
Oh my God, you guys putting me on it. How about this? Why don't you all start it first and then I'll go in?
I said, Joe, nobody's above. They say up and down, it's all in the universe. Display, north could be south, good could be bad. It's out of your mouth. It's about the route. It's about the next progress. Even the mistake didn't seem obvious until you've already made it. So I gave him the layup and then he laid it. I'm going to let him take it.
You let me take it. Then people decide to bake it. Never fake it. Joe Villa mistakes kids. When they look at me, they see a Filipino, but inside they see an MC that flows. Blow whack MCs out the window. See my man, see popular. We do it all in LES, the best. Forget the rest. I'm doing that off the top of the dome because I can. This is what I do when I blend. I know that sounds kind of whack, but that's all right because this is the end of the show.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, man.
Oh my.
Yo, is he the only person that ever freestyle?
Yes. Yes, you are, Joe. You the first one, brother. You the first one to flow off the head with your 16. You know what I mean? Or with your verse. So we thank you for that, brother. You know what I mean? Because it's something like, you know, for the most part, man, it's just kind of when we get our guests on here, a lot of times people are like, yo, I'm not familiar, or let me get familiar. And, you know, on the episode, you spit a 16, like they like, yo, hold on. Or you spit a verse and it's just like, yo, hold on, man. I got to look deeper into who this person is. You know what I'm saying? So when you start flowing off the head and everything that you said just leads off to this is the way the show ends. Now everybody's like, yo, hold on. I want to know who Joe Villa is. You know what I mean? So
at the end of the day, it's a vibe. Like
there you go. Yeah, man.
If you speak French and you forget it, and you hear a lot of people speaking French, then you start speaking French. So that's why Akaim sort of let me in And I always do this. I'm just like, yo, you run first, and then I'll go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the vibe.
Yeah.
It's definitely the vibe, y'all. Well, thank you. Thank you all for having
Nah,
me.
brother. Thank you.
Make
Happy
sure,
Valentine's Day. Thank you to all the wives who let us four
yes,
guys
definitely. Make sure you go to
y'all.
www.amphibians.com, AMPHBNS. We got merch, we got music. Also, check out our Bandcamp for the Volume 1 Amphibians, the Breathe album. That joint is up there for sale. Also, you can like stream it on all platforms. Also, we got Volume 2 called Heavy Water, which is coming in March. So look out for that. Look out for C Popular merch. If you don't know
Hey.
what C Popular is, go look him up on Instagram. He got a lot of followers. Plus, he's D Nice's best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Dope. Hold on, brother. You being very modest though, man. You got the IG live popping off. Where
Word.
y'all be
Oh,
playing,
yeah,
you be
Fresh
spinning.
Combos. So yeah,
Let's
so
go.
we got Fresh
Yes.
Combos season 2. This week we got RNL. We got different hip hop DC hip hop artists on this show.
Oh, shout out to you too. You mentioned YU. Shout out to YU
Or YU,
producing.
we had YU last week.
Shout out to the whole DC scene. You was really the segue into us introducing our audience to the DC area. So shout out to all of y'all. Y'all crazy. Shout out my
Substantial.
homie
Word,
Substantial,
word.
Maryland DMV.
Everybody. So I mean, we just doing it, bringing it there. Like, you know, when this documentary comes out, it'll explain more of the history and why we're doing this and why it's relevant of today and what the past was. You know what I'm saying? And
one of the greatest freestyle artists ever.
Right.
And I do want to shout out to Philly. You know, I do want to say, like, the more every year goes by, he's really irreplaceable. And as I learned at that funeral service when I tried to freestyle, it's not like a corny thing where I could be like, okay, so now we all got to do better and represent hip hop. It's like he was actually one of those irreplaceable people. So I can say we all got to do better to like do our thing harder, but you'll never replace that energy and what he did. So I just want to take a moment to say that honestly, and I hope I could do what I do to that level where it just makes other people want to do what they do, because some people you just can't replace, and you just glad that you got to be there.
Yeah,
when it was
Philly's Lullaby also is out. I don't know if you heard that, Kahin, off the Butterfly Dragons, John Amber's Muse. Philly's Lullaby. We just put the lyric video out. That's on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Philly, yeah. So he's the pink logo. He's the hot. And we represent the hot pink logo right now, and that's for the Valentine's joint. But that's a love song. Like, if you hear that song, it's deep.
But Joe, before for the most part, spell out Philly for people because they might be spelling, you know what I mean? So when they looking on YouTube, so spell it out for them.
So Philly is Filli, but that's on the Amphibians YouTube, so you can find that there. Plus all so with going back to Fresh Combos, episodes 1 through 4 is up from season 1, and then the Ja Moon episode, and then the Breeze Brewing from the Juggernauts episode.
Shout out to Ja Moon. Shout out to Breeze Brewing.
Word. So so that's up there, and then more is gonna come. So just subscribe to our YouTube. You'll get all the information there, and
Rob,
it's coming on the way.
Are our channels linked?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know.
That's right. He's the FBI James Bond of the SoundMinds. He do all that.
That's dope. We need one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of which, man, with that being said, right, we are no secret, but SoundMinds is definitely working on putting some things out. You know what I mean? Some things, and for the most part, man, we might be reaching out to Joe Villa, or we will be reaching out to Joe Villa on some we got to get together. Amphibians and SoundMinds do a little posse cut, you know what I'm saying, or something. We'll get Joe Villa just, you know what I'm saying, and let's just make it.
No doubt. No doubt.
Have ZQ, the connection, right? Have ZQ produce it. You know what I'm saying? SoundMinds and Amphibian. You know what I mean? So it's dope, man. Just to get that cultural unification up and show, as we are the leaders of what we do, show what it looks like, and we show and prove. You know what I mean? So
I just got your verbal agreement for this contract. You will be featured.
No need to read the file prints. You just spoke the light skin. You good?
Yo, I gotta
before we go, we're gonna definitely start off something new before we end this podcast. Everybody in the chat, and everybody that's listening, you know, before we end it off, I want everybody to start before we say it. Y'all start putting in SoundMinds in the chat right now, because as we end off this show, we do the countdown and we say we're gonna see y'all next Sunday on an episode of SoundMinds Podcast. And on 1, 2, 3,
SoundMinds.
There we go.
My brother, it was a blessing having you on, man. And you know, for the most part, man, the beauty of what we do and why we do it, let's keep that. Let's keep the purity. Let's be the purists that we are. Shout out to my brother Saquon, man. Yo, my man, he's cooking up from over the waters. You know what I mean? But let's thank you, brother, and thank your wife for us. Tell her we thank her, you know, for letting you get on with us, brother. And you know, we all thank our wives, and thank you, brother. Great episode, man. And Philly is watching you, and I know that you know. I know you got a bigger connection as well. You know what I'm saying? So by all means, brother, thank you so much to you and to him.
Word. Thank you very much for this. And yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Keep the culture going.
SoundMinds.
While we're here, we're